statement about last weekend's game and about this weekend's matchup.
It was good to get out there in Dallas, and play another football game. I thought, our kids, fought hard. Coach Dooley, does a really good job, has a well-coached football team. The thing about it, when you dig a hole for yourself like we did, it's kind of hard to come out of that hole. And we didn't play well, at all, for especially 3 quarters. We didn't play well, offensively and in the kicking game. And, we left 9 points out there. And I thought defense, we played well enough for us to win. But all in all, you got to be able to take advantage of those points, especially in a big game. You get in the green zone, 3-4 times, you got to come away with points, and that just bit us, and we never recovered from that. But the thing that I was very, very pleased with was our kids continue to fight. They fought hard and continue to really, really, get after it and kept believing and gave themselves a chance to win the game in the end. And we just fell short. The hole was too big and not enough time to make the return. But congratulations to Prairie View A&M and Coach Dooley and his staff. And but at the end of the day, it's not over. We still have a lot of games left to play, and there's a long way to go in this particular season. And we feel we still have a chance to win the league.
Did waking up Sunday morning, did it feel a little weird, feel a little different to you?
Well, yeah, it's new territory for us, and when you look at what we've been able to accomplish, the last 4 years or so, it's really, really amazing, to go 4 years without losing a conference game, and that's tough, and there's a lot of pressure that comes with that, because everyone's trying to knock you off, that's just the way it goes. You look at the game, and it was like it was a Super Bowl, and that's the way it's gonna be, when you've been that dominant for so long, and by right they have every right to celebrate. So, it's part of it, it's part of the business, but the toughest thing is staying on top. That's very, very tough, and of course we got some young kids, but we got some good players, some good young players, and we just got to continue to work and continue to develop and continue to do what we do, just like any other week. Even if we won the football game, we were going to look at our mistakes and try to improve, and that's what we're going to do.
What were some of the biggest differences you saw, maybe just kind of like from an energy standpoint between Alden and Higgbottom coming in this week?
Well, I thought Alden, both of them, they did as well as they could. I think the problem was we didn't do a good job of protecting them. And when you don't protect the quarterback, you can't expect those guys to stand back there and make plays. And then I thought later on in the game, because we weren't protecting, I thought that they started to lack a little bit of trust, and they started to bail out of the pocket a little bit earlier than needed to. So it goes hand in hand. They have to trust those guys, and then those guys have to give them a reason to trust them. And it's a work in progress, and when you're playing big games, you got to be able to run the football, and we weren't able to run the football, and then you got to be able to protect so you can throw the football, and we have problems with that as well.
What was the message to the guys, down 22-0, and and you're trying to find a spark somewhere? Just what were the coaches telling the guys on the sideline there?
Well, the thing with from our camp, everything was keep playing. Keep playing and keep digging and keep going, and then we were trying to find something that would work, because when you can't run block and you can't pass block, then you're trying to find something that will work, and we eventually found a couple things that were able to work for us, and made some changes, as far as who we put in the game, and it kind of worked a little bit, but. When you dig yourself that big of a hole, especially against good teams, you're going to come out on the short end of the stick, and that's what happened.
Really just one play away kind of from at least tying the game up and still being in it. As much as it seemed like a big hole, the defense kind of kept the –
They did.
Just how when in the fourth quarter when everything was kind of happening, like you guys believed, just kind of what was going through the coaches' minds, the players, like what was the message at that point?
Well, the message was to finish it, to finish the job, and we felt that we had the momentum at that time, and I've been on both sides of that thing. When you don't have the momentum, and when you do, and when you don't have the momentum, it's like you're helpless, and you're trying to find a way to stop it, and it just won't stop. And So I've been in their shoes, on several occasions, and I was just trying to ride the wave, and we had a nice wave going, and we kind of made sure that we were trying to get the ball to the right people because they were making the plays, and I thought our receivers, when they did get those opportunities, they went and snatched it away and did a good job of making plays. We just have to make sure that we put them in positions, to make more plays, and that starts with me.
I think it's something positive to look back on is that you did have an opportunity to kind of come back and win the game, considering how different the halves were.
Absolutely. When you play as bad as we played, for 3.5 quarters, I really look at it as the last 7 minutes is when we started playing better. But it was basically 3.5 quarters of just terrible football, and that's just the way it goes. So the good thing about it is you can play 3.5 quarters against a really good team, the number one team on our side in our division, and basically you should have won the ball game or had a chance to win the ball game. So basically for us, it's about cleaning up those mistakes. Special teams wise, taking advantage of those opportunities when we're in scoring range. But then offensively, getting points. It's not always on the field goal kicker. You got to score touchdowns too. So it's a lot of things, and but the thing that I can say is those guys didn't quit. They kept fighting. But this will also tell what type of heart we have as a team. Sometimes it's good to go through situations like this because you find out who you are and what you need to do. And that's why it's rainy days. That's why it's sunny days and cloudy days. So it allows you to appreciate the other opportunities.
Obviously, the Grambling fan base has been very much used to you guys just
Yeah.
rolling the cleats out
Yeah.
there and you win ball games and
Yeah.
and I guess naturally there's been a little criticism and a little questioning about what's going on. I mean, what would you say to that? Have you heard any of the criticism, and if so, what's your message?
Well, I don't pay attention to it. I'm the type of person. I don't pay attention to any of that. Even when it's good, I try to stay the same way and the same person because no one has to tell me that we're not playing well. I can see that. No one has to tell me when we're playing well. I can see that as well. I just try to stay focused. At the end of the day, the people in the room, they know what's going on and they know what we're going through. People outside of the room, they don't, but they're passionate. And that just shows how much they care and how much they love, our program. I don't pay attention to it, but I understand, because you want to win every game, and I do too. But there's nobody that can put more criticism on me than myself, because even when we are, dominant, this for a fact, you would always ask me, what grade are you giving it? And I'd say B or B minus, and we won 70-0 or 55 to whatever. So there's nobody that can criticize me more than I do my own self, because I'm a perfectionist, and it eats me up, when we're not perfect, even though that you probably will never be perfect. So I guess I'm always that type of person that's always looking at, something to get better. But that's part of it, that's part of the business, that's just the way it goes.
Felt like a big game. Obviously, it was a big
Yeah.
game, but still got the rest of the season. So what are you going to tell the guys to just kind of put this one in the past, as you do in football, and kind of move forward?
Yeah, regardless of the outcome, you have to do the same. I think the same mindset applies to whatever situation you're in. If we would have won that football game and we're dominant in that football game, you still can't linger on that football game. You have to put it to bed. You have to look at your mistakes, and then you have to prepare for the next opponent. So it's no different, whether you win or lose. Now, you might feel a little better, about preparing and doing those things, but it's the same scenario, regardless. So just because we lost a ball game doesn't mean that we change how we do things. We may change, some of the things we do, because, that's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So for us, we're going to work and continue to grind and do what we do, just like we've always done, because that's the Grambling way. But this is not Grambling football, what we've been putting out there for the last 4 weeks.
What do you feel like are those, those first steps as you guys are getting back into practice for the game here on Saturday? Just finding that improvement and finding, keeping the guys engaged and keeping them, together.
Well, the first thing is we got to develop a rhythm, and that starts in practice. We got to develop some confidence in some of our young players. And all of that comes from practice and competing in practice. You have to feel good about what you're doing. You have to feel good about where the ball is supposed to go. And that all starts in practice. When you're successful in practice and you do things well in practice, then it gives you more confidence for the game. And that's just real life. That's just the way it goes. So, we're going to continue to work and continue to dig and do things that we need to do, and play and put it down there and go. That's just the way I know how to do things.
For some of the experienced guys, I think there was 3 guys that had 9 tackles apiece on defense.
Yeah.
Just how nice is it to know, again, this week that you've got multiple people on defense that can make big plays?
Well, it's big, and our defense has been, our backbone, since we've been here, and we've won championships, because of our defense, and we've done a lot of great things, and it's good to have guys that can play on defense. We just got to compliment them well by putting the ball in the end zone, because one thing I know about putting the ball in the end zone is it breathes life into your team, and all of a sudden they feel like they're ready to go, and then it gives you more momentum, when it comes to that. So we got to find a way to put the ball in the end zone. It's just that simple.
Was it Geis that had the second touchdown, right? Was it Geis's pass?
Yes.
So talking about breathing life, how big was that touchdown for you guys?
Well, it was big, because once we scored the first one, it gave us momentum. Then we scored the second one, and you could see it kind of start to change a little bit. And when you put the ball in the end zone, it helps. It's kind of like a big hit on defense. When someone strikes someone on defense, it kind of puts life and pumps life into your team. So offensively, when you score a touchdown, it pumps life into your defense. So we just gotta do things right. And then also we gotta create opportunities, for our playmakers, and that's on me.
Was Saturday the best the defense has played this season, you think?
No. The shutout was the best that our defense has played, all season. But they were consistent. They turned them over. They got the ball back for us. We just didn't do anything with it.
Just probably lastly here, just a preview this upcoming Saturday. What you know about Oklahoma Panhandle?
Oklahoma Panhandle is a good football team, well-coached team, aggressive style defensively. They'll play a lot of man coverage. Try to get in your face. Really apply pressure on your quarterback. Really try to make it an ugly game. Try to mess up some of your assignments up front when it comes to the running game and things of that nature. So they're going to be a tough opponent offensively. Good offense. They play well at times, and it's going to be a game that we have to play well in order to win the football game, just like any other week.
Is this one of those cases where you feel like the sooner you can get back on the field, the better it'll be?
Yeah, and when I say sooner, I would say practice. You gotta get on the field and you gotta iron out your mistakes, which we did last night, and talk through some things. But we got a lot of young kids, offensively, but that's no excuse. You still have to go out and play well, because you're not going to get a pass, because of that. You got to do what you got to do. There's been teams that we've played in the past that have had young kids, and we didn't take it easy on them. So we don't expect anybody to do that for us.
Is this weekend more about what they do as far as making the games ugly, or more about Grambling?
It's more about us, and every week is in my opinion, is about us. It's about, how we play, how we block, how we throw, catch, run, tackle. It's always about us, because if you don't take care of yourself, it doesn't matter what they do. It's going to be a long day. So for us, it's about doing things right and making sure that, as coaches, we're all focused on being attentive to all the little details.
Any other questions? Thank you, Coach.
All right.